Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Let me say good morning to those of you also viewing GBN TV. Good morning and welcome. It's Monday. It's the 16th day of March within the year 2026. It's to the point. Good morning to you once again. I'm your host, the GT. I'll be around with you till it's 10 a.m. this morning. Sometime give or take a couple of minutes may go past 10 a.m. this morning. Those of you via social media platforms, good morning to you also. Welcome. Nice to suddenly have you. Hope everyone had a great week and I'm looking forward towards a productive week this week. Good morning once again. On today's edition of To The Point, we have Mr. Jude Bartholomew with us this morning, and he's the president of the Grenada Teachers Union. I hope I'm right about that. Good morning to you, sir, and welcome. How are you doing this morning, sir? Welcome, Mr. Bartholomew.
Good morning. It's the Grenada Union of Teachers.
Grenada Union of Teachers, yes. Good morning to you, sir. All right, thanks for the correction. How are you doing this morning?
Not too bad at all. We have reasons to be happy, to be smile, to be thankful. And so while we start this program, we just want to lift it up to Almighty God for His gift of His Holy Spirit that we have a successful program here this morning. And I want to express greetings to the citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitty-Martinique, to our wonderful teachers, and to the Grenada Union of Teachers, to the working class people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitty-Martinique, as we celebrate March 13, the true revolutionary spirit, not the revolution, but the revolutionary spirit, that manifests itself in our nation, in all various unions, and the militancy of the Grenada Union of Teachers, that we can give thanks.
All right, certainly thank you for that wonderful opening there. I want to get the ball rolling off. I know recently, of course, there have been negotiations. Talk to me about it. How was the healing process, I would say, between the union and government since the days of the street marches and the mediation, etc. Talk to me in relation to that.
Yes, very interesting. That's why I said March 13, the militancy and the spirit of the revolution or revolutionary spirit. The headline here is that we will never forget the nation, our teachers, the various unions. But before I go further into that, I want to put on record here my deepest appreciation even to the previous administration, the NNP administration, because they too would have assisted our teachers, our members, working class people. The Minister for Education at the time would have ready the computers, the laptops and such that we got in progress. They would have provided it, and various salary increases. But from time to time, when you remember during that period, 2018 there to 2022 was one of the most difficult period in our history from a union perspective and from trade unions organization throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitty-Martinique. And we see here that we give thanks to Almighty God for all the breakthroughs and everything. But we put on record here to our nation and to all persons who are listening that the GUT will never forget the difficult moment that we had facing with pension, the challenges that we had to march on the street up and down for really and truly what was rightfully ours. And today we can look back and say, thank God that pension was restored, but it started somewhere. And the Grenada Union of Teachers, our teachers did came out in full force, probably with other unions too, and face the wrath of the previous administration and what we have gone through. And not only that, but for the 4% during that time, the COVID period, we had to march the street. We remember all the candlelight processions and all the different things that we face. We face a situation where our salaries, teachers, were docked. This was the most difficult Christmas period for a lot of our workers, our teachers. Tears come out in person's eyes, not only affecting teachers, but their families, young teachers, young families, and such. A dull Christmas, but we did it with purpose, we did it with pride, with integrity, and such. We were steadfast as the Grenada Union of Teachers. And today we can reap the harvest. We had docked salary, our salaries were docked. We had work to rule, all the different things during that difficult period and such. But we say thank God, and what we see now in the progression, God has really, I would want to say, just as the Israelites and God has redeemed and provide for the people of Israel, so God has done for us and provide a new leader, a new administration that came in at that period and really and truly granted us our pension. Yes, the code did it, pay the pension under the Honorable Deacon Mitchell and the NDC administration. Came came in one time such and pay the dark salary for teachers, and so restore confidence and everything, and more or less set a stable environment and workplace. We saw also sports went back and all the different activities in school. So this is why we say and we express gratitude to the previous administration, because they too have, provided for teachers. But we will never, ever, ever forget that difficult moment and what we face. And today we can say, even as the new president of the Grenada Union of Teachers at that time, police came from me and I was, detained in St. David's police station. But today we were steadfast as a young leader, and today we see the whole nation looking back, and every sector, even the police who they had to do their work, but privately someone saying to us, we have to do our work, but we understand the fight because we are fighting too. We had to get our pension too. And today when you walk the street, you feel proud to see even the police officers, they rejoice at the type of pension that they get, and sometimes I smile and I say, well, if they get the pension as police too, why don't they detain the pension and bring it up in St. David's police station, which I was brought in at that particular time? But it makes you stronger and better. As a leader, union work is not easy. So I just want to go back, as we say, we will never forget that moment, and for teachers and for working class people to be wise and to see what we have gone through and to see how our new administration, which I will say is more labor friendly, friendlier to us, friendlier to teachers, to the working class people. We may not get everything that we want at the same time, but we can see a different feeling, a different vibes, a different trend that we don't really have to go through. That doesn't take away our ability to have an industrial action when it deems necessary under any administration, even under this administration. But at least the working environment, the industrial climate, we have a government now that is pro-labor, that we don't have to march on the street and all the different things that we have gone through now to see how TAMCC, the fringe benefits and such, was settled. To see we have just settled and such and signed a new CBA collective bargaining agreement with the government of Grenada for teachers in the public school. And we didn't really have to have a fight. It doesn't mean to say that we agreed upon everything and we got everything that we want, but it's a different dispensation. And today we say thanks to Almighty God. We say thanks to our teachers and our union and probably all the various unions who are already steadfast and such. But today we give thanks.
With the current salary negotiation and the fringe benefits, for TAMCC lecturers, the agreement, of course, which took effect from January 1st, 2026, with the introduction of that $500 annual classroom maintenance, allowance and so forth. What does this specific agreement mean for stability, for terrestrial education, after years of, equal pay for equal work, protests and so forth? Talk to me in relation to that, sir.
Yes. So I don't want us to mix it up again. We want to separate it so people have a good idea of the benefits for TAMCC. So I'll deal with TAMCC lecturers, which are part of the Grenada Union of Teachers. So for the first time, the Grenada Union of Teachers, with all collective bargaining agreement, used to be that the GUT negotiate whatever we get in salary increases for the public teachers in the primary and secondary school. We got the same for the lecturers at TAMCC. It was TAMCC and TAMCC Council and the government of Grenada that said going forward that they really wanted separate and distinct negotiations for statutory bodies for TAMCC lecturers and workers at TAMCC. So this is the first time in the history, basically, of TAMCC and GUT that we had separate negotiations for the lecturers at TAMCC. And I could tell you, it was long. Yes, it was a battle, but at the end, we came out victorious. We put on history and record here. This is the first time, and the quality of fringe benefits that the lecturers got from the government of Grenada, because the government of Grenada, at the end of the day, that signs off on everything, and because TAMCC doesn't really have all the resources for themselves, so the government of Grenada that really have to pay. So yes, we had a 10% salary increase for the lecturers at TAMCC. 4% for 2026, 3% for 2027, 3% for 2028, and we put on record here that they got the 5% payment for the period 2025. And before I go into the fringe benefit here, I want to put on record to the nation, between the time that the new administration, the NDC administration, came into power under the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, that's between 2023 to 2025, in a 3-year, 4-year period, TAMCC lecturers and workers at TAMCC almost got a 46% salary increases. So the 2022 TAMCC lecturers and the workers at TAMCC did not get any salary increase for about 12 years. And then we came in and we had that fight. So they got 23%. In 2023, 2022, when the new NDC administration came into power. And after that, then we had a 13% salary increase for the period 2023 to 2025. And under this new arrangement again, they got a 10% increase from 26 to 28. So you could say half of that time in a short instance and in a short amount of time for this new administration, the lecturers at TAMCC and other workers, PW workers, when you add it up together, the substantive, almost half of the increase in salary or the pay came during the NDC administration, and we give thanks. Now I'll go to the fringe benefits for TAMCC, some of it, not all. So just as how we have laptops for all lecturers going forward, protecting clothing and equipment for the various departments, culinary arts, I won't go through all the equipments and everything, medical insurance from the GUT medical plan, the Grenada Union of Teachers, or the government and TAMCC Council will cover that, just as how the teachers in the primary school and the secondary school have the GUT medical plan. The government will pay 50% for the lecturers in the GUT medical plan, which is good health and safety and all those things, some insurance. But what I want to put on record here, leave of absence and study leave, all those things, sabbatical leave, which they never had before, that came in this fringe benefit. Retirement pension, the new pension plan, their contributory pension plan. For the first time, the lecturers at TAMCC, they had nothing. And so we fought the good fight for public officers. We fought the good fight for teachers for pension. But the lecturers at TAMCC and workers at TAMCC, all they had was a kind of retirement savings plan that everybody wasn't in. There were some problems, who get in, who not get in, and all these different things. So the duty never rests. And so we appreciate not only now that it came into effect for the lecturers at TAMCC, so that when they retire, they could retire in peace, just as the public servants and teachers. But the good thing about this administration under the Honorable Deacon Mitchell is that they receive 100% pass credit. So in other words now, besides the 10% salary increase, the lecturers and probably other workers at TAMCC under PW, when they become part of the pension scheme, if they're not there already, all of them will receive 100% pass credit, besides the contribution on the government side for the lecturers and workers at TAMCC. Which means, what does that mean? 100% pass credit means that the government of Grenada, under the Honorable Deacon Mitchell administration, will recognize all the years of service of those workers before and put that money into their fund, their contribution. So in other words, they're not losing anything. The government could have put 25%, or they could have said 20 or 50 and such, but what they did, everything they cover in past credit to bring them up now to where they are. So in a few years, or when they're ready to retire, they're not losing anything. So these are some of the benefits for TAMCC lecturers with this. We have severance pay for retrenchment and termination. And we see for the first of 1 to 5 years, 2 weeks per year, according to the labor code. 6 to 10 years, 5 weeks pay, and over 10 years, 9 weeks pay. That's what we landed for the lecturers at TAMCC. We want the nation to listen again. Over 10 years, 9 weeks pay, if you go back to the labor code, is less than that. But that doesn't mean to say because the labor code says that it will be there. It tells you the sort of benefits and such that the government of Grenada under this administration had really and truly. That's why I could put on record that this administration under the Honorable Deacon Mitchell and this NDC administration is more labor friendly. And last but not least here, motor vehicle concessions for the lecturers at TAMCC, at this higher institution, they really and truly had nothing. No, the teachers at the primary and secondary school, we have access to concession. But when you look at that higher level of learning tertiary institution, we are able to secure up to 90%. 90% concession for teachers 5 years and over, for the purchase of hybrid vehicles for all lecturers at TAMCC. And so we are very proud from the duty and the lecturers. And we say thanks to the government of Grenada for really, and to TAMCC Council for really and truly securing this sort of benefits. The duty has done it once again for its members. We leave none behind. And that's the sort of appreciation. So before I go now to the benefits for our teachers in the public school, I just want to say here to our lecturers at TAMCC, we really and truly have had a successful negotiation with the government of Grenada, and the government of Grenada represents the people of Grenada, the citizens of Grenada who pay the taxes and so put in those increases and such. We know that you're doing a wonderful job, but we just calling upon you, the lecturers and TAMCC, to really step up and go beyond the call of duty and to really work hard, because this is a tertiary institution, the last echelon in terms of for putting out our students, adults to the workforce. And we're calling upon you to really step up. We know that you're working hard. Do what you have to do for punctuality and productivity and everything like that, so that the students could come there and to really learn well and to make an impact in national development. So I may say on this level, that's it for TAMCC. Let me go now to the public school, the Grenada Union of Teachers again. We remember from 2023 to 2026, the government of Grenada, we had 13% salary increase, the highest increase for workers, the highest ever recorded for workers, 13%. 2023 to 2026. In this period of negotiation for 2026 to 2028, in spite, we may say, of the whatever is happening and those things like that, so on the trajectory and the difficult economic situation, yes, we wanted more. We pushed for more. In fact, I may say here, even what police got the 12, or the duty from 9, we say we're not accepting 9. And so we pushed to 10, and we pushed to 11, and we pushed to 12. So even when police signed and they got the 12 because we pushed for that 12 before, and then we were going further. So we went to 13 and such, and we probably wanted to go even further. But when we listen on both sides, negotiations is both sides, sitting down and dialogue and everything like that. So, and we take into consideration the economic situation and everything. We take into consideration the quality of fringe benefits that teachers receive in the public schools. And when I call it out to the nation and read it out and explain, you will see. So when you balance everything and you balance the equation together in give and take, this time around again, 13% salary increase, 4% for 2026, 4% for 2027, and 5% for 2028. So I will now go to some of the fringe benefits secured for our teachers. We have sabbatical leave. Teachers already secured sabbatical leave. It's something that we had for a long time, but we had 10 teachers per year, and it wasn't sufficient. Yes, it could be more, but this time we got 17. And yes, it could have been more, but we thank God. So we have a few more teachers who could be able to apply and will be able to get you for sabbatical leave. We have study leave, and this study leave, though, for this first time is extended to all teachers who have served for more than 3 years. Before, the study leave was only for permanent teachers, but we understand the situation. When you take into situation, a lot of teachers are still temporary, And after 2 years in a teaching position, you're not really supposed to be temporary. Once you have a secure space, you should be permanent. So it means that some of these teachers who are temporary was losing out on these benefits. And this time in this negotiation, we pushed through and the government negotiating team and the government has agreed. So it's a good day for all our teachers. Now we secure this benefit of study leave for all of them once they're really entered in the system 3 consecutive years. And we say that is a good thing. Then we have death in service benefits. When a teacher died before, what used to happen? The month you die, they get rid of you. They don't give you money. They don't get in 1 cent. If you die on the 15th or you die on the 18th and they happen to pay you on the 20-something, they pull it back. Then afterwards, now they start giving, we negotiate in the previous negotiations, 2023 there, you start hearing about a 1 month or 2 months after that. So you get your family, your relatives got a 2 months. But now we are ready for the first time that death in service benefit for any teacher who die in service because it's a pain. Sometimes you die in service, you don't get your pension, you don't get, yes, you might get gratuity. But any teacher from now going forward who die, your estate or your benefits, they'll get 1 year's pay. And that is a good day. This is for motivation to encourage teachers and public officers, we may say, to really work hard and such. Because you have something, yes, you die, you will not enjoy it, but you have your children, you have persons behind, and they will be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. For technical and vocational certification, the government talk about TVET, they talk about skills, they talk about in terms of educational improvement and the National Development Plan. We had a battle with the technical teachers, 10 technical teachers who for since 2008 wasn't upgraded. There was a fight there. And so when we take that into consideration, and we're looking out for everybody in terms of the teaching profession in all aspects, and we were able to secure and get the government and the government negotiating team to agree to us in terms of putting them on the scale and the salary scale, whether you are SOT 1, SOT 2, qualified bachelors or whatever, you're going to fall on that particular scale for CVQ, NVQ, TVETs, and all those things. And so that is a good benefit for skilled laborers, skills, because it's very, very important. And the government and the private sector always say that we need skilled people in Grenada, skilled workers. And that's what we call for. Classroom material allowance for the first time. In this negotiation, every teacher, whether primary or secondary school, would receive a stipend of $500. Whether we get it in cash or we get it whatever the arrangement, because there is a policy to develop it to be developed for it. But going forward from September, the beginning of the new school year, every teacher will brighten up their classroom and such. What used to happen? Yes, the government gives something, the Ministry of Education, but when school open the first week and you go back to work, you get in 1 marker or 2 markers from the Ministry of Education, 2 packet of markers that to pass for everybody and such. Before you make a aid or you make a chat, everything gone. So teachers used to spend the money, and that's what I want the nation to appreciate about teachers. Teachers don't only sit down there and principals and wait on the Ministry of Education or wait on government. The teachers are generous in giving. They travel, they buying stuff, they buying the certificates, they buying the stickers, they buying the everything for the preparation of the school year. So it's a little relief. Yes, it's not everything, but it's a start. And we really thank God, and I know that the teachers were happy. When we explained this fringe benefit to the teachers, they were satisfied and they were very happy. So we asked them to make use of it and to use it wisely and such, and to make sure that you prepare the classroom and do what you have to do, so to make the learning environment so that the children could really feel proud and settled away from home and to be able to learn and to learn well. Article 8 there, medical plan contribution for the Jude medical plan, that the government have really and truly agreed to pay more of the contribution. So the teachers will pay a little less, the government will pay a little more for each teacher in the medical plan. And we are very grateful, because health is wealth and health insurance and everything. So I just say that this administration That's why I say this administration is really and truly labor friendly, working class friendly, teacher friendly with the sort of articles and fringe benefits. And we're going now and you're hearing more things. Increasing provision for scholarship for teachers. We had 10 per year. 10 per year. Now we're getting 15. And we know that when we discussed that, we got a call in our meeting, some teachers in the skills area, they said that they're getting left sometimes. And those teachers sometimes for special ed, for special training, because special ed, special education is not an easy place to teach. So while we have 15, we have to really balance it out to see if we can make provision for persons to give them the opportunities for special ed in the 3 special ed schools, the resource center, and such, and together with our primary schools and secondary school. So we are really, really thankful. And as we go further, assistant teacher support inclusive, the nation should be very happy about that. When the Grenada Union of Teachers negotiate, we don't negotiate selfishly, not everything just for our members. We take into consideration the parents and the need, the children and the needs of the nation for special education and for teachers and students in the public schools, primary and secondary. We realize in this modern trade, you're having some problems with, students with children with special needs, and it's very difficult for the ordinary primary school teacher or secondary school teacher or even in special education to really teach them. Is a challenge and a battle. And so what we catered for in this benefit, the nation, the parents and everybody should be proud, because sometimes somebody at the home will have a special needs child and they would like to know that they're in the classroom and such, and the teacher do not have the skills and everything to really teach them. Education is for all. So what we have secured that all primary schools are assigned an additional teacher to support students with special needs. And this is a good day going forward from September. Provide an additional teacher, an additional caregiver for special education. Caregiver, because we know now the children, they have the special needs, some not really mobile, some in wheelchairs, some in this, some in that, but everybody coming to school, because it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter who you are and such. Every parent wants their child to receive an education, and every child deserves an education. It doesn't matter what your physical conditions may be and such, it is your right to an education. And what the duty has done is to facilitate that for everybody, so that we provide the special caregivers and special teachers for all to cater for the primary school and for special education. And as we go a little further, this one is a real wonderful one. And we know that the teachers in the preschool teachers are very, very happy. When I say that here today, I recognize from preschools teachers who have died. I remember Sister Glen from Grenville Preschool. There is another one from St. Patrick's who I cannot remember her name now, and all the head of preschool teachers who really and truly, some of them died in the call of duty and they never received anything. Remembering that preschool is the foundation, the roots for education, educational development. What happened in preschool affects children for the rest of their life. And so I'm very happy to inform the nation. I'm very happy to inform teachers, and the teachers in preschool are singing praise. The head teacher, from going forward from September of this year, they will receive a $300 allowance a month in addition to their salary. And I really thank God for that. That would really motivate them and encourage them. Remembering that preschool teachers work hard. The sacrifice, they come to school very early to facilitate parents who have to go to work. Sometimes they are the last to leave. Sometimes they sit down waiting on a child, waiting on parents to come for the children, and the parents can't make it for some reason, 5 o'clock, sometimes 6 o'clock. Preschool teachers are in the school and making that sacrifice. It is not easy to to teach the children. Lunchtime, they can't go for lunch. Sometimes they have to be jogging up, bringing up, going in the kitchen and jogging up the lunch for the little children and feed them and all those things like that. So the nation should be grateful, and our union, we are thankful to the government of Grenada for facilitating. This is something for the first time that preschool teachers, the head teacher, the head teacher in preschool will receive that $300 allowance. Second year, to provide an additional teacher, additional trained teacher for preschool, for the head teacher in preschool. Not only the $300, but remember, the head teacher or the teacher in charge in preschool, and that is not only for attached preschool, unattached. Those two with the primary school and those who are independent and separate for themselves, all preschool, that they will receive an additional teacher, the head teacher, so that the head teacher could do her administrative duties. Because the head teacher acts like a principal, have to report on everything like that. So the Ministry of Education, and what used to happen to the head teacher, that head teacher has a class. So you have to teach your class, you have to do everything, and at the same time, you have to do all the administrative work. We say today is a new day for preschool going forward, that they would have an additional unit of staff. So yes, they can run the school. You still have the principal attached to the attached preschool. The principal would be the principal. So we want to make it clear that the head teacher, although having an additional unit of staff, is not to say the principal in the school, but the teacher in charge, but will operate like a principal, and that is for attached preschool, both attached and unattached preschool, and we are grateful for that. In addition, we have secured, we know we're dealing with little children, and germs and all those other things that make it easy to spread, and children could really get sick at that particular age. So a cleanly environment in the preschool, in our preschool, and what we have secured, parents should be happy, you know. That is not a benefit that the teachers secure in more or less for themselves. The teachers, and that's why you should love and appreciate your teachers and the Grenada Union of Teachers. When we negotiate with government, we don't negotiate selfishly. We take into consideration the needs of the nation, the nation's children, parents and the needs. And for the first time, all preschools, attached, unattached, will have in terms of a cleaner for the whole day, full-time cleaner. So to be able to wipe the desk, to be able to do all the different things for a clean and a healthy environment, and health and safety is of paramount importance for our school. And so it's a new day because preschool set the trend for quality education. And so we asking the teachers in preschool also to really and truly be thankful and to be grateful to the government of Grenada, to the GOT, and to the nations, the citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And to really and truly, we know that you're working hard, going beyond the call of duty, but let it be a new day to do everything that you have to do to really and truly teach, because it's the foundation level, and to do what you have to do to give the children a good start, some love, as you always do, some care and attention, and going forward so we can improve learning and teaching from preschool and set the pace and the standard for also higher level, early childhood, and going up to primary level, and so the children will be successful at our level.
All right, Mr. Bartholomew, I'm going to actually take a pause here for a minute because we drew for a break. Let's take it. I know you have lots of information to give, but we drew for a break that we need to take. And when we come back, we'll continue. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the break. Don't touch it out.
A trip to Grenada from April 4th to the 6th, 2026. A decision you'll never regret. This isn't just any destination. It's where passion meets performance. Welcome to the 53rd Carifta Games, hosted at the iconic Kirani James Athletic Stadium in St. George's. Under the theme, Passion Drives Performance. The best of the Caribbean's junior athletes will compete in electrifying track and field competition. Organize now and be part of an experience like no other, where talent, passion, and perseverance come alive on the land of 100,000 jab. Feel the passion, celebrate the performance, and create memories that will last a lifetime in pure Grenada, the land of warmth, spirit, and unstoppable energy. Welcome to the 53rd Carifta Games.
We're inviting all residents and the business community from Calavini, Westerhall, Hopevale, and all surrounding areas to join us for a town hall meeting at Westerhall Secondary School on Wednesday, the 18th of March. It begins at 6 p.m. We want to bring news to you about what's happening here at the site, what you can expect for the upcoming months, and we want to hear from the community as well about this very exciting project happening right here in your neighborhood. It will be blessed by the presence of our Honorable Prime Minister and the other ministers of our cabinet. We look forward to remarks from our Minister of Health as we focus on Project Polaris and the healthcare transformation for Grenada.
The countdown is on for Grenada's biggest track and field event, Intercall 2026. This Monday on Beyond the Headlines, we go behind the scenes with the people making it all happen. Hear from Carl Andel, President of the Grenada Association of Principals of Secondary Schools and Chair of the Grenada Secondary School Games. Samantha Antoine Purcell, Treasurer of the Grenada Association of Principals of Secondary Schools and the Grenada Secondary School Games Association. Jonel Mitchell, Director of the Games, and ASP Kenneth Bascom of the Royal Grenada Police Force. They reveal how planning, logistics, and security are shaping the battle for school supremacy. Don't miss this exclusive look at the work behind the games. Beyond the Headlines, Intercall 2026 this Monday at 8:30 p.m. only on GBN.
They come from near, they come from far. Once a year, Grenada holds its breath as the best athletes from our secondary schools converge on the Kirani James Athletic Stadium for a special moment in time. Intercall, 90 events, 24 schools, 3 days, 2 champions to be crowned. Intercall 2026, March 17th to the 19th. It's more than just about medals. It's about school pride. It's your legacy on the line. Intercall 2026. Come, be part of history. Join the coverage live on GBN Television, the home of Intercall 2026.
GBN's broadcast of Intercall 2026 is made possible by Answer Coating, Grenville Credit Union, Rise and Shine Supermarket, Grenada Paper Products, Grenlec, the National Training Agency, Banfields, Rush Distributors, Innovair Air Conditioning Units, Flow, Echo Motors, Barry's Engineering, and Grenada Development Bank.
Looking to take your business to new heights? Advertise with GBN on our social media platforms and get noticed by our 138,000 plus followers. Reach a massive engaged audience ready to connect with your brand. No matter your business size, GBN is here to help you grow. Contact us today at admin@gbn.gd or WhatsApp 407-8458 to get started.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. It's to the point for today, Monday, the 16th day of March, 2026. We have Mr. Jude Bartholomew with us this morning, and of course, he was discussing sharing a lot of information pertaining to all of the agreements with the union and government. Mr. Bartholomew, welcome back. Welcome back, sir. I'm not sure if you want to pick up from where you left off or we want to move on, of course, to other matters. I know there's certainly a lot that you want to share this morning. If you want to pick up from where you left off.
Well, I think I'm more or less exhausted, the...
all right. All right. I want to talk a wee bit about...
Before we go on, I want to take the opportunity to make a clarion call to our members, to our teachers in the public schools now. Because yes, we receive all these benefits and such fringe benefits, and the teachers were very, very happy. And I'm sure without a shadow of a doubt, the teachers, the invaluable sacrifices and commitment that teachers make. You see it at the primary school games, national primary school games. You see it at branch sports. You see it at the intercal games. It's still GUT games still, even if the secondary school, and other sacrifices that teachers make. But teachers, I want to call upon you today. This is a call and a commitment, a rededication to the nation's students and to the citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique. It's their dues, all of us, in terms of taxpayers' monies that are already facilitating all the increases and the fringe benefits and those things that we get. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that all members are doing a wonderful job. But I make this clarion call for us, yes, to rededicate ourselves towards the call of duty and to go the extra mile for each and every child and such, because education and such is of paramount importance for every child, regardless of what your status, whether you're poor, whether you're rich, doesn't matter where you are, and it's more important for a working class family more than ever. So let us redouble our effort. Let's appreciate and rejoice in the benefits that we get, and we have other benefits even outside of that to get still, and we continue to get. But the best way we can give thanks and give thanks to God and to the nation is really punctuality, productivity, and to dig deep and such to make the extra sacrifice to help each and every child. I'll leave it.
All right. I want you to talk to me in terms of the professional status regularization. The question goes along with this is, what is the status that remained in terms of the temporary teachers? Are they who are moving towards the system and temporary is no longer a permanent state? Tell me in relation to that, sir.
Temporary is a permanent state still, but we see real movement. In 2023, we are about 125 teachers were regularized. In 2023-2024, in July of 2025, 220-something teachers were regularized and received some form of compensation. Yes, they were not compensated for all the years that they were temporary, but they received some form of reasonable compensation, and the teachers are really, really grateful. So we see that we are going places with regularization. We are waiting for a third batch of teachers to be regularized. So again, those teachers who are calling to for regularization, remember how you felt when you were temporary, and now that the government facilitated you, the Ministry of Education, to regularize you and make you permanent. We really want you to show your appreciation and to give thanks by really working hard and do what you have to do to teach the nation's children and to continue to do a wonderful job. And so what we make the call now, but we recognize the teachers who are regularized, there is always a group of teachers who are getting left. Some teachers still 6, 7, 8, 9 years after. And what happened? And we'll put that on record here. While we are grateful for regularization, the GOT is really and truly more or less leading the way, negotiating, dealing, pushing government. And when they have the regularization list, they don't show us. That's one thing we could say under the Ministry of Education now that we have not seen under the previous administration. The previous Minister for Education, Sister, the Honorable Evelyn Pierre, used to show us the list for regularization. Nothing wrong. We are the ones, we are the union. We are pushing for regularization, and we should know at every stage. We should know the compensation that our teachers should receive. We should know the number of teachers. That is not something, it is very embarrassing and humiliating. We don't know why the ministry would be hiding this thing from us, and we cannot see it when we are the ones. And then when something goes wrong at the end now, they call the union or call the president and say such and such and such, and see how you could fix that here and such. We call upon the Ministry of Education and the government of Grenada to discuss the list and show us the list so that we can see how we go through. And we will see, well, this teacher is missing. This teacher has 15 or 20 years here, temporary. This teacher is 9 years. We could question and say, how did this teacher get left? When you regularize and you don't show us now, when the list comes out, eventually now, everybody calling and you have problems here and there. We demand with respect that the GOT sees the list so we can have a discussion going forward, and we know. And we look forward for another batch of teachers to be regularized. One of the problems that we face with regularization, there are a number of persons in the Ministry of Education who are there, like truancy officers. We have guidance and counselors and all the different set of persons who went in the Ministry of Education, even under the previous administration and probably even under the previous NDC administration before. Some of them are there for 15 years, 10, 12, 18 years, and more or less they go on assignment and they're still there, and nobody regularizing them. So they were permanent in the school, they get a new job or what the case may be, but no confirmation in the Ministry of Education for the new posts. In other words, what they're doing, they are blocking the spaces of teachers in the primary and secondary school, and principals, acting principals, to really and truly receive confirmation is like a traffic jam. It's unfair. We have always been complaining to the Ministry of Education for years. We have gone to the Public Service Commission and we're saying enough is enough, because government cannot confirm or make two persons permanent in one job. So when you in the ministry, you were a principal in the school before, you were a teacher in your school, and you get another work in the Ministry of Education, unless they confirm your post, your new post in the Ministry of Education, you are still attached to your school. And so whoever comes in for you have to be of the mercy of the Public Service Commission, the Ministry of Education, or the government of Grenada. And that is why you have people hanging there for years upon years in somebody's space with somebody in the ministry that have a new job. And you're waiting on the mercy of them. It is unfair, it is unfortunate, and we're calling upon the government of Grenada, the Ministry of Education, and the Public Service Commission to put an end to this, to confirm all those persons in the Ministry of Education, in other ministries where we have teachers, and we have other persons who went on assignment and such, and the teachers are suffering, and even principals, acting principals, they are acting and acting and acting as if they're in Hollywood and such movies, because though they're waiting on the mercy of probably a principal who left the school, went down to the ministry, or got another job. Unless this principal is confirmed in their position, the acting principal in the school, just the acting and acting and acting.
Let me also ask you this, Mr. Bartholomew. Why are teachers with higher degrees still facing those hurdles in terms of receiving their rightful inducement payment from the DPA? Why is that?
Right. So before I answer that, I also want to put in a call for nurses and other persons who we know that the nurses, the sacrifice and commitment, and other persons that the role that they play in society health-wise, because health is wealth. And some of these persons have been struggling to be regularized, and so I don't want to be selfish. While we call and we push for teachers and everything, and so we want to put in a call for other persons, nurses and other practitioners who are in similar situation. To go to this, it is very difficult. I don't know why. We don't know why these things are happening. Teachers are facing some unfair and unfortunate situation. The hardest working people with all the sacrifice in the nation, the commitment. Teachers teach everybody, whether from prime minister, commissioner, in whatever field. Teachers really and truly, they really teach you and educate you to be in that situation. And what we face, we realize that something is wrong. When we negotiate the best set of fringe benefits ever. And it seems to be that we are the envy of the public service or other situations, and we pay the price for the fringe benefits that we negotiate. So when teachers are ready to get it, it means that they're having a hard time. It appears, I don't want to be wrong and subject to correction, that when other persons who really and truly have to give the teachers, when they see the kind of fringe benefit that they're getting, it seems as they just feel, well, no, we're not going to give you that because we're not getting that. But at the same time, whoever in those situations, they have the bargaining agent, they have the place, they have to step up and push so that they get the benefits, the type of benefits that we have negotiated for. And it was the call under the previous administration, I will say it again, the NNP administration, when they recognized, and it was a good call, when they recognized that we didn't really have a university here more than St. George's University, Barbados and Trinidad and Jamaica and other places were moving forward and advancing in degrees and everything like that. So the clarion calls for teachers to go to study, and teachers heed that call. Some people invest to study a lot of money. When you hear about a scholarship. Sometimes you think you're getting everything. You will have to pay sometimes even almost all. And teachers invest in terms of educating and developing themselves. Most of the teachers, a lot of teachers now are doing their bachelors. Bachelors, when you finish, and the ministry comes now with this, even under the previous administration, about priority areas and priority lists. It means what they're telling you now. If you go to study, if you're teaching mathematics in the school, and you go and you study language arts, or you study science, they're telling you that you cannot be upgraded because you don't study in the you did not study in the area that you're teaching. How can that make sense? Teaching is dynamic, teaching is fluent. At school, if you want to develop education and develop in terms of what the government call educational transformation of education, you can tell somebody because education is diverse. And even if you study in another area, you might have to use it later on. The principal in the school may say you're teaching maths this year, but next year they might call you to teach science and the language arts or all those different things. So you cannot deny somebody of the benefits, which is a collective bargaining agreement, which the bachelor's degree is incorporated into your salary scale. And so what they have been doing, DPA, the Ministry of Education, denying, and so I have it recorded here, calling them DPA. Stop the practice of denying teachers when it comes to you of their bachelor's degree. And the bachelor's degree is in almost every fair. Even if you study religious education, Grenada is a religious country. The first thing we have in school and morning, whether public or private, is prayers. Prayers and assembly. So somebody could apply for a principal, even if you have a master's in religious education. Education is diamond. Almost every area. Even if you do something in health and safety, even if you do something in disaster preparedness. Disaster preparedness, where do we have the first line of defense for disaster preparedness? When the hurricane season, where do they go? In schools, teachers are the ones who volunteer to really and truly to sometimes take charge principles. So when you have that, you know, and you're telling it, you must drill in case of an earthquake. You must drill in case of a hurricane. You must do drills in case of some emergency. And you study, let's say, disaster preparedness, or you do some sort of thing in that, and they tell you, no, you can't be upgraded when they're using the teachers to facilitate all those things. I could see if you go and study a doctor, or you go and study probably aerodynamics, this is something different. But education is wide, and the Public Service Commission has made the pronouncement, and they said they are against what the Ministry of Education and DPA and what they are doing, that it doesn't matter what situation, teachers are crying out for their masters since 2016, 2018, 2020 and years up to 2026. A lot of teachers are doing their degree to upgrade and to uplift the standard of education, and you telling them at this particular time that they cannot be upgraded. It is really a shame, it is humiliating, embarrassing, and is against what you call natural and social justice for the teachers and other persons. So we cry out with this time at this level to the government of Grenada, to cabinet, to the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, and to DPA, the Ministry of Education and PSC, to immediately stop this practice and to give the teachers some relief, because he assisting in helping and improving education quality and such. And as we say that, we move on to the master's degree in inducement allowance. It was the previous administration again that put a hold on it. We don't know why. And we say that the teachers, we secure that benefit for our teachers. Master's degree is not incorporated in the salary scale. So when you do a master's with teaching, you're not really getting any additional pay for that. What the union have negotiated now is an inducement allowance about $255 on a monthly basis. You're spending $100,000 or over $100,000 to study. You're not really getting compensation for that as a master's degree. How would that motivate you and motivate teachers and other areas to really want to go and study if you're doing that? So the previous administration put an end to it. They said they wanted a review. Up to now, the review can't done. Well, thank God now the PSNED in the Ministry of Education, I really want to give some commendation to PSNED on a drive in such that you can see I'm very satisfied. There's always room for improvement, but I'm satisfied with the work in terms of what we have done from Union, DPA, the Ministry of Education to put a new document going forward for the master's degree. And it will also, the framework would also cover for bachelor's and any sort of additional studies that teachers really do, and the compensation. So going forward, I think is almost ready and to send to cabinet. I hope that it was submitted already to DPA and that DPA don't keep it for a whole 2 years there. That's the problem that we have in. It appears in Grenada that those persons who are charged of the civil servants, are charged of the workers in those big places, they're doing as if they are the ones that giving the teachers the money or giving the workers the pay, the benefits, and so sometimes they slow in doing them things, and sometimes the politicians get the blame. Sometimes the politicians, they have them in charge and they're not really opening the eyes to see what these persons. So we are the mercy of DPA, we are the mercy of the Ministry of Education, we have the mercies of other persons who call in the shots, and what they're doing, they're moving slow because you are in the hands, and so they don't bother about that. And that is unfair, unjust, and unfortunate, and we're calling for this thing to change. But with the master's degree, the day is coming when teachers are going to smile. They're going to get the master's degree inducement allowance, and they're going to get it retroactively. That's what we put together from since 2004, going right back to 2026 and going forward. They may not get all the monies one time, but you will be compensated. And as we say that to move quickly, I want to say thanks to the government of Grenada, the Ministry of Education, and the Grenada Unit of Teachers, the technical teachers. We talk about skills and technical and vocational education to improve. There were about 10 or 12 technical teachers who studied, I think, in Jamaica. From since 2008, those persons were not graded. 2008. The union had to push the accreditation board really and truly accredit them to a qualified teacher. And now we will say a few months ago, under the leadership of the Honorable Deacon Mitchell administration and his government and the Minister of Education, the work of the union, those 10 teachers have been upgraded to qualified teachers. And since going back to 2008, they have a lot of monies to receive retroactively. So I want to give kudos to this administration, because what we've seen, a lot of things that wasn't done under the previous administration and left teachers and public workers hanging. This administration under the Honorable Deacon Mitchell had to come back and fix it. So it takes time, and we appreciate that. And that's why I have no hesitation, no doubt, no limitation that this administration is a labor-friendly administration. It's an administration for the working class people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitimatnik, and ordinary men and women. And today, we give thanks. Let's continue.
I want to talk to you about the administrative challenges and school environment. The question that goes along with this is, how is the DP addressing the denial of benefits from members under the collective bargaining agreement? We talk in reference to, late payments and other issues that have come about from time to time. Speak to me in reference to that.
Yeah, so I will talk about late payments, and then I'll go to pension, which is a very, very, very important one, and what is happening. Late payments have been a plague. It's like the people not learning. In 2023, 2024, or thereafter, the union took industrial action. 394 teachers did not get pay, and qualified teachers' principal were bumped off of the payroll. And this year the same thing happened again. We did not come out and say anything in terms of we were dealing with that and bringing all the documents again. That happened last year before, and the same thing come back and happen. People were bumped out, a set of persons not getting pay, new persons who were hired, persons who were on staff before, temporary teachers, permanent teachers, the same thing. Over 100 teachers. And when they start to pay them, they pay them this month, next month they don't get in pay. This month missing, next month missing, this kind of nonsense. Even there are some teachers from since when? November, January, February, March, they don't get paid yet. What is taking place in the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, DPA? What is taking place that teachers and probably other workers have to be taking so long to be paid? When we had a discussion with the Ministry of Education about 2 years ago, and he gave the assurance that at least they will try to bring that down to at least 6 weeks. Science and technology and all those things in place, and documents have to go from here, there, everywhere and such. Somebody playing the fool somewhere. But there are persons who come in their job and they get in their monies on time. A lot of the workers, teachers and public officers and all those people, we are working class people living from month to month. So once you don't get paid, it's affecting you. Young teachers, female, they have the children, have to be borrowing money to go to work, have to be crying. That is supposed to happen in these modern times. And so people are frustrated in that level. So while I give thanks and praise to this administration for all the work they are doing, I keep saying it over and over. The nation may have to pray for this administration to open their eyes and to open their ears for them to see. Because it seems now that somebody, I don't want to say directly, but it seems that they're getting messed up somewhere. It's happening too much. Happening in education, happening in finance, happening in all other ministries. And somebody or somewhere or somehow creating some problems or some hindrances or stumbling block. And this administration must open their eyes. They must open their eyes to see, because when the teachers are frustrated, they don't get paid. When public officers don't get paid, you have situation which I will bring here. You have doctors in the hospital. Doctors, some of them are young doctors who have not received all their monies for months. They probably afraid to speak or what the case may be, who is speaking for them. But quietly, they saying it. They have not been paid for months. Probably the administration at the highest level is not aware of that. But all those things are affecting them, even when the government intention is to do good and to do well. And at the end of the day, they are the ones who will get the blame. So we're asking the government and are asking this administration, which I know they're young and such, but look at the track record. Nobody's perfect. But for the time they come in terms of labor, working class, they have been trying and trying well. But there are a few things that are messing them up, and they must open the eyes and the ears and do all the due diligence, for they don't fall in that trap in terms of that again and again and again. This is the last time I will say that for them to hear, to advise them, open your ears, open your eyes, be watchful and do what you have to do, because a lot of the times they let go that responsibility, and public servants, you must be grateful. Yes, you have your job and everything like that, so on the privilege under every administration, you do diligence and everything to do what you have to do and to do what you have to do, well. But there is a problem there in Grenada and the various ministries where for some strange reasons people are not getting their pay on time, they're not getting their monies, they're not getting things. And if the government already deal with that and trash it out, then they are the ones going to get the blame, and in the end it's going to mess them up. This is a word to the wise. Going back now to pension, we are so thankful and grateful to this NDC administration under the Honorable Deacon Mitchell for paying pension. All teachers now smiling, police officers, public officers, prison officers. When people were about to retire, their face was hard, stiff. They frustrated because they were going home with nothing. And this administration came and honored it well. But what we have seen, we see a trend, and it happening in DPA. DPA, I had to go up in DPA, we had engagement. There are about 12 or how many teachers who there for joining of service over 2 years, some people 3 years, and the pension can be paid. I'm not aware if the administration and the Honorable Prime Minister and other ministers are aware of that, what is happening. We went up there to discuss. You tell me somebody retire, you come out on retirement leave, and you then now see in trouble from the time you finish pre-retirement leave. Or if it ends in November, you're supposed to start getting your money from December. There are some persons for pension going on 1 year and they don't receive their money. What are they living on? Some of them you could retire at the age of maximum years of service, 26 and 2+ years. So you're already 60 yet, you're not getting anything from NS. What would the people live on? And some persons, they don't understand the consequences of the action and what they're doing to workers. What they're doing to people daily bread. So they sit down slow. When it's their pay, nobody holding them back. They're getting their money with speed. And when it others, you have a teacher, I have a teacher who have worked well from a school in St. David's, who had to go on pre-retirement. The teacher informed the Ministry of Education to stop paying her a monthly salary. Can you imagine the teacher, you know? The Ministry of Education and such should have all the things in place and to know when you're supposed to retire. You don't have to call them and tell them they should know when your last payment should be. The teacher keep calling. They don't take no heed, keep paying and paying. When Christmas, December, remember the teacher home for a long time, you know, have not received a pension payment. It have not been paid. And what they did, they take out the whole monthly salary in December. When they realize, after the teacher called, how many times to allow the Ministry of Education stop paying me since before the teacher go on retirement. They are the ones who are supposed to know that and to inform the teacher when you go in pre-retirement, when your pension will start. Can you imagine teachers have to be calling to telling the ministry? And what they did, they take out, so it was a sad Christmas for the teacher. They realized their mistake now. That's their fault, you know. And they don't say, well, you have pension to get, you have your gratuity, so when your money comes, we're going to take out what we give you. They take back everything from the teacher for that Christmas. What is it these people doing? What is it? And then now, let me just explain that here to persons and to DPA. When you're going to retire and pensionable purpose should be with the Public Service Commission. And I want to explain here the joining of service. There is a difference. Yes, if you have a break in service, probably you left teaching, you went in another job which is not in the public service, you went in the private service, you went somewhere else, and you come back within 5 years. It means that you have a break in service. You don't have continuous service, which means, you know, when you're ready to retire, you have to apply, and the Governor General will join your service. They will join it for pensionable purposes. That's if you have a break in service. This is different from the ordinary teacher, whether you're temporary or not. And I want the nation to listen, and teachers and workers to listen so that you can learn something. Even if you're temporary for 12 years, 15 or 20 years, the day which you receive permanent, all your years of service before is added, is recognized. So you don't lose anything for pensionable purpose. It means that they have nothing to join. Nothing to join. You're a teacher. You should be regular. Teacher should be permanent from 2 years once there is a space. So based on the agreement and based on the law, it means that some of these persons in certain places, they don't understand their role, their job, and their function. So they're creating havoc for people. Let me say it again. If you're a temporary teacher for 12, 15, 20, 24 years, the day that the government or the Ministry of Education, PSC, regularize you and you become a permanent teacher, once you're in continuous service, which means you're not getting a 3 months work here, there, and everywhere, and a teacher going on maternity leave and such. Continuous service means year after year you're working, even if it's in a different school, but continuous. When you become permanent, you do not lose your years of service. And for pensionable purposes, the government have nothing to join. You are a teacher who are working continuously. You just have to apply for pre-retirement and for pension, and the PSC, Public Service Commission, just have to honor that. Your name not supposed to be going up to DPA for joining our service. What are you doing there? And frustrating people year after year. You're taking a year, you're taking 2 years, you can't get your pension. So we're asking the government of Grenada, the Ministry of Education, Public Service Commission to correct that wrong and to educate your workforce and the people in charge so that they know the rules about pension. They know all the different rules. That was it causing. You have a change in somebody here and everybody interpreting the law and the rule differently. It's not supposed to be so. There's supposed to be some standard by which even if somebody go out of office or somebody go out of the job, the next person coming in should be able to interpret these things clearly so that you don't have chaos in the public service. And we call it upon DPA. Even if there are a few workers whose service have to be joined for pensionable purposes, it shouldn't be taking 2 years in DPA. And we going up there and the same thing, people crying, people hurting, people there, you're not working and you can't get money to spend. No. And it means that the government is not aware of these things. And then the government is getting the blame. At the end of the day, they have to get the blame. They have to shoulder that responsibility. And they have to have people in place to check to make sure that these people are doing their work. And stop frustrating people who work hard already and you give everything, and when you're ready to retire, you have to beg in your bread and such when pension is available, when this administration pay the pension and should be enjoying what they did and such, getting some licks and some liquor fire for persons who just doing all sort of things. And when I will end by saying, it appears that there is two public service. I don't really want to say that. It seems that there is a competition between DPA, the Department of Public Administration, and the real public service, the Public Service Commission. And so a lot of times DPA making decisions for bachelors or masters for this. Even we have teachers who, based on the collective bargaining agreement, they get a scholarship and they go away to study. They give the okay. And so many persons are calling back when they're supposed to be getting. We have a collective bargaining agreement for permanent teachers, and now we open it up now to basically teachers 3 years and over. If you go down and study abroad, you're supposed to get 6 months half pay, 6 months full pay, and 2.5 years half pay from the government of Grenada. And DPA, you get this stuff, and DPA telling the teachers that they're not successful and stopping the pay. If persons get 1 month pay, they're pulling it back. This is madness here. You go to study, you are abroad.
Mr. Bartholomew, I may have to chime in on you for a minute, but we're strapped for time and we have really gone over time a whole lot. So we only have approximately 3 more minutes left on the program this morning. So I will ask you if whatever else you may have to say in terms of closing remarks, you may have to get to that because we are already over time. We're already going down to like 13 minutes after the already. So so I will give opportunity to whatever closing remarks so we can wrap up, please, sir.
So very, very quickly, I just want to say thanks to the government again for school repairs and school programs. There are some new school buildings that are going down, taking place in Andrews Anglican Primary, I think Grenada Christian Academy, St. David's Secondary School. There are some repairs also to take place at Holy Cross, Munich. We're looking forward for the new school for St. Giles Anglican School. Again, they are in both places there. And we also, I want to put on record here very quickly for Grenville Secondary School. When you look at that building, you ask, how could children and the staff motivated to teach here? I am calling and we are calling for a new secondary school for Grenville Secondary. Enough is enough. And so no amount of repairs. If you have to repair that school, you're spending millions that it doesn't make sense. I call for a new school for Grenville Secondary School and to pay the teachers the SBA allowance and such that they're supposed to get for the marking of SBA. Quickly, I just want to quickly say thanks to the government again for what they are doing in the school feeding program, what they are doing in terms of TAMCC for students going there, paying the registration fee, and all the different things that they do to support education for the working class people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique. I think in labor and such on that front that they are doing a good job. And we say thanks to the Grenada Union of Teachers, thanks to our nation. We look forward to Conference 2026, which will be on March 31st and April 1st, the Grenada Union of Teachers Conference. Thank you very much all.
Thank you, sir, and best wishes for the rest of the day. Folks, that's what we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank, of course, Mr. Jude Bartholomew this morning for sharing information. Join me again tomorrow for another edition of To The Point. That's what we say goodbye for today.